Craig in California, how are you?
I'm fine. You hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Inspired, by that old canard, atheists have no morality. I bring yet another example of not only atheists having morality, but the morality being better than that religion. This week, how's about the Pope being against condoms in Africa, which is both overpopulated and infested by HIV? That's an example of atheist morality being better than religious morality. Thank you very much.
Okay.
No argument there.
Thanks, Craig.
Yeah,
You're welcome. Bye.
I think the Pope's the entire Catholic Church has blood on his hands, if only for the atrocity that happens in Africa. With they've actually run billboards that have a skull on it and says, this is a condom user, implying that if you use condoms, you're going to die from AIDS. They've put out campaigns that said that I guess the NGOs were putting holes in the condoms, so you're going to get AIDS anyway. They've put out a lot of misinformation, and their whole thing is burn the condoms, just say no. And of course that doesn't work, and it's also it betrays a deep misunderstanding of how the AIDS epidemic in Africa differs from almost every other place on the planet. And I think that whatever solution there is to the AIDS epidemic in Africa, it's not going to come from the Vatican. It's probably not going to come from any Western civilization. It's going to ultimately be an African solution. And
yeah, and this is I'm not saying this just to piss people off, but it will. I can't speak for anybody else's views about morality, but in much the same way that there may be some small area where I, for example, might be more knowledgeable than Stephen Hawking, maybe the Bible, who knows. I don't think that makes me smarter or better in any way than Stephen Hawking. However, when we're talking about morals, for me, not only am I more moral than the character of God in the Bible, or pretty much any other character in the Bible that I can think of, across the board, I'm also more moral than almost every person who accepts any Orthodox Christian doctrine I've ever heard of. And this goes, by the way, for many other religions. I'm speaking particularly about Christianity, because in order to get there, you have to accept this immoral doctrine of, for example, and I know this doesn't apply to all Christians, original sin, substitutional atonement, whereas my moral views are about personal responsibility. They're about demonstrable harm. And also the very idea of sin, that there is some thought crime against some being out there, or that if I'm lusting after somebody, that this is in and of itself necessarily evil, I find patently absurd. And by the way, if it weren't for lust, the human race would have gone extinct a long time ago.
Yeah, didn't the Shakers try that?
Yeah.
It didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
Great furniture, though.